What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about SoFi. So we have another interesting day on our hands. I want to go over some of the current data points, latest updates associated to SoFi, and then ultimately, what can SoFi do to really rectify this sticky scenario that they're in? Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So at the time of doing this video, it is down 3.97%, $6.61 the low. 57.9 million shares being traded, 44.9 is the average. So you do see some institutional buying, a lot more than yesterday, but a lot of the volume still being done today is algorithmic trading. So these are some of the transactions that have occurred so far on the secondary market. So a little bit more than yesterday, but still not where it really should be, because almost 2 weeks ago, there was double this amount and there was nothing really coming out. So it's really an unfortunate scenario. There was one big transaction being done this morning for 6.79 million. And based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, it was over the ask. So someone definitely did want to get into SoFi. I don't know who it was. Jokingly, I kind of posted this. So obviously Cathie Woods does send out all of her purchasing that she's done the prior or during that trading day. So for the 29th, when SoFi did sell off, she didn't buy the dip. So I kind of jokingly just said, fucking Cathie Wood. So it's not the best. I still do feel that she is just a very bad omen. Any stock that she does typically touch goes down. Roku is one very big notable one, and same goes for SoFi. Tesla, she's being praised for, but I think that's just premature and has nothing to do with her original forecast. But enough about Cathie right now. Obviously, moral of the story is you need more institutions buying, creating very strong support levels, because as it stands, the technicals are looking very bad. So as I brought up in my video yesterday, just looking at the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have 716 as a strong pivot. And so for as long as SoFi is below that, then it is anticipated to get between that 630 and 660. So kind of touching the higher end of that range already, even though this was kind of brought up yesterday. So it's not the best scenario for SoFi based on the technicals. And while I'm on Interactive Brokers, the latest analyst ratings came out. So there was one that came out, I believe it was after I did my video, a $4 sell rating by good old David. I think everyone knew that he was going to come out and do that. Just we didn't know if it was going to be $3 or $4 or maybe $1, but still, David, who has a 43% success rating, fails to surprise us as investors. Aside from that, though, 𝗖𝗎𝗪𝗓, who has a 63% success rating, gave 11. You had another sell rating from Compass Point, Giuliano, who does have a 62% success rating, which isn't all that bad, but still, like, you see some bullish analysts and those ratings just get brushed under the rug. The bearish ones just are like, oh my God, panic. So it's a very unfortunate scenario. And what makes it even more unfortunate is shorts. So right now, I do feel that there's a couple of things that SoFi can do to really help this bleed, because there hasn't been any news today, no SEC filings, nothing along those lines. So when it comes down to it, Anthony buying. I know that's kind of cliche and everyone just says, hey, Anthony, you should buy, which I've said that in the past, but at this time, SoFi's technicals are on a very slippery slope. So it is staring off of a virtual cliff right now. So if things don't change, it could be hitting the low sixes sooner rather than later. And that is absolutely crazy considering their earnings, just because they didn't give the amazing Q2 guidance that the market was really wanting. It doesn't really justify this. But then again, there's a lot of manipulation with SoFi, as I brought up in the past. So Anthony buying would show a huge, immense amount of commitment towards SoFi, and showing that he believes that at $6.77 or whatever price he buys at is a good deal. So that is one thing that I do feel that Anthony can do, at least in the short term. And plus, a second thing that could be done, because Anthony likes to jump on all these obviously places and talk all about and do interviews, as what was, obviously you guys get what I'm saying, like CNBC and many, I think he was on Bloomberg as well yesterday, but he likes to do those types of things. Why not do similar to what Alex Karp said? I believe that's his name, Palantir CEO, and he literally outright said that shorters snort damn coke. How can Anthony Noto sit tight on his ass? And this is where it does piss me off, because at that time when Alex said that about Palantir shorts, the short interest percentage was at 4%. 4%. And SoFi's right now is at 19.2%. So you have a CEO freaking out over 4% short interest when Anthony is sitting on his ass and not saying anything. I would be like, okay, these guys are snorting coke, they're getting hookers, they're doing all this stuff, like we need to stop them. Like, I feel like Anthony does need to step up his role as CEO, and I don't know. It's just a very unfortunate scenario because a lot of investors look at SoFi and now immediately always know, regardless of the results, their earnings will always go down. And keep in mind, this is a very big psychological game when it comes down to investing. So that means going forward, I'm sure a lot of you might actually sell out leading into the earnings, and thus because anticipating a further drop. So it's one of those just very crappy scenarios, because right now even shorts are increasing 2.74 million shares. 190.64 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 0.96 and utilization is 73.86. I've even brought up on previous videos, I think my last one before SoFi's earnings, the options looked very optimistic, if that weird play on words, but technically it did indicate that there could be a gamma squeeze. All it needed was SoFi to go up and just hold some level of gains even above $8.50, $9. That would in turn cause a nice gamma squeeze, and through that would probably have shorts returning some of their shares. But it's just a very crappy scenario, like I said. So those are some things that at least I feel SoFi/Anthony should be doing in the short term. And then moving on though, looking at options right now. So the market's been open a good 4 hours, something like that. A lot of money is getting in. 11 million in calls, 3.96 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 46% of all the options being done today are optimistic, but probably a good chunk of that is just shorts hedging their bets. And the reason why they hedge their bets is because if SoFi, for whatever reason, does decide to go up, then they are kind of covered. So it kind of prevents a short squeeze. It's a very sticky scenario, but that's what shorts do at this stage in the game. But of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above $7, $7.50, somewhere around there. So you do see options at least signaling that what's happened over the last couple of days is a overreaction. Looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be below $6.50. So the risk versus reward is pointing to upside. But at the same time, looking at puts, it is kind of mimicking exactly that Elliott wave technicals. And without institutions physically buying SoFi and adding this level of support, then yes, it is going to continue to trend down, which is a very crappy scenario. But all in all, right now with it at $6.79, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So $6.86 is going to be that next strong target that you really want to watch for SoFi to get above. If it is below that, then you are kind of looking off of a virtual cliff, like I kind of said. So $6.32 will be that next strong support, which is the low end of the Elliott wave technicals. I have been playing around with this website. I think I brought this up in the past. I just asked it some various questions, but I did see if SoFi was a buy, or at least it interprets it as a buy, and it does say it is a long position. So you guys can pause this right here and just read through it at your own leisure. But I do like to look at exactly what it's saying, because if this AI is saying that it is a buy, then logically the algorithmic trading that's happening on the market would be saying something similar, you would assume, right? But on the actual chart itself, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. You do see a very bearish deviation right here, so red line above the white. And like I signaled, the first sign of risks or kind of fear, you were going to see a very significant pullback, because stochastic was somewhat overbought, and so this is why it's probably aiding in the massive overreaction that has been happening with SoFi. But number of retail investors are slowly getting in, as you can kind of see. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. What's your thoughts on maybe Anthony coming out just saying F you to the shorts, or do you think that's too kind of below his status? because he does come off as very professional, whereas Alex seems like a loose cannon. And I don't know all much about Alex, so he might be a straight arrow as well, but that's just my interpretation. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And who do you think was this purchase, the one that was brought up right here? So 6.79 million. Do you think it is Cathie Wood and her actually buying SoFi, or do you think it's someone else? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and with all that, appreciate all of you watching.